In the early 1940s, something strange was happening in the skies over Connecticut. Locals began spotting a silver, disc-shaped object gliding silently through the air. At the time, the term UFO wasn't even popular yet, but the police reports were clear. We saw a giant flying circle. While people feared an alien invasion, they were actually witnessing one of the most daring and bizarre projects in aviation history, the Vought V-173, known colloquially as the Flying Pancake. This aircraft was designed by the brilliant engineer Charles Zimmerman to revolutionize flight by pushing the limits of classical design. But why would someone build a plane shaped like a pancake? And why did such a promising project end with a wrecking ball? Today, we are exploring the peak of propeller technology and one of its most tragic endings. It all began with Charles Zimmerman, a quiet intellectual working at the NACA, the forerunner to NASA. Zimmerman was obsessed with the problem of short takeoff and landing, STAL. He dreamed of a machine that could hover like a helicopter from the deck of a Navy ship, but fly as fast as a fighter once in the air. In 1933, he entered an internal competition with a design for a circular wing. NACA officials thought his ideas were too advanced to pursue, but Zimmerman didn't give up. He built models in his basement using rubber bands and wood. Eventually, he joined Vought Sikorsky, where the Navy, desperate for aircraft that could operate from small ships to counter Japanese kamikazes, finally gave him the green light. The first prototype, the V-173, wasn't just a plane. It was a giant flying wing, where the entire body acted as a lifting surface. The secret lay in its massive 16 5-foot diameter propellers. These were designed to rotate in a direction that canceled out the air turbulence tip vortices at the wingtips, allowing the plane to fly at incredibly low speeds without stalling. However, the design created a unique problem. The propellers were so huge that the aircraft sat on the ground at a steep 2-degree angle. The pilot couldn't see the runway at all during takeoff. The engineer's solution? They installed glass windows between the pilot's feet. To see where he was going during landing, the pilot literally had to look between his legs. The testing phase was full of wild stories. The first test pilot, Boone Guyton, was a massive man, 6'6" and 240 pounds. On the first flight, feeling he was flying something truly alien, he swapped his leather flight cap for his American football helmet just in case of a crash. One of the most famous incidents happened during an emergency landing on a beach. Guyton spotted two bathers in his path and slammed on the brakes. The high-profile aircraft flipped completely onto its back. Everyone thought the plane was destroyed, but the V-173 was so ruggedly built that neither the pilot nor the airframe suffered serious damage. This crash actually convinced the legendary Charles Lindbergh to fly it. Lindbergh had initially refused, fearing the Pancake was unsafe. After seeing it survive a flip with just a broken propeller, he took it for a spin and was amazed by its low-speed handling. Following the V-173's success, the Navy ordered a true fighter version, the XF-5U-1 Flying Flapjack. While the V-173 was made of wood, the XF-5U was an all-metal monster. It weighed 7 tons, 5 times more than the prototype. It was powered by two 1,400 horsepower Pratt & Whitney R2000 engines buried deep inside the hull. On paper, the performance was terrifying. It could hit speeds of 450 miles per hour, but also slow down to a mere 20 miles per hour, nearly hovering in midair. It was planned to carry 6 and 50 caliber machine guns, or 4 20mm cannons, making it a lethal weapon for carrier decks. By 1947, the XF-5U was finally ready to fly, but the world had moved on. The roar of propellers was being replaced by the scream of jet engines. The Navy realized that no matter how good the Flapjack was, it couldn't beat a jet. The project was over budget, behind schedule, and officially canceled on the 17th of March, 1947.